Welcome to Shrouded Realities Podcast. I'm Joey with Steven, Connor, and Ruby, the podcast dog. Say what's up, fellas.
Hello.
What's up, fellas?
Today we are going to discuss the mysterious world of the Mormons. Shrouded in a little mystery. They've got some secrets that
They don't want you to know.
they don't want us to know.
They were trying to erase it.
They're trying to. Ooh, yeah, they do. They try to erase a lot of history.
Still ain't seen those gold tablets.
You hadn't seen the gold tablets, the magic ones that were written in another language that can only be seen with crazy glasses.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's nuts.
Well, before we start, though,
Yeah, let's
plug it up.
Let's plug us. We got a website now. We've got a shroudedrealities.com. We own the domain name of shroudedrealities.com.
That's a big deal.
Big deal.
That's pretty cool.
So hopefully we'll get merch up on it soon. Maybe by the time this goes out, we'll have some stuff for sale. So check it
we've
out.
already got the Facebook, we got the YouTubes, we got the. We're spreading it out.
Yep, we're starting some video. We're gonna start getting some content out.
flock to the TikTok, you know?
That's right.
Did you just make that up?
I did.
That was pretty good.
That's weird.
That might end up on a shirt.
Just flock to the TikTok. How about that? But yeah, let's talk Mormons. Little nervous. Disclaimer, got to throw this out there. We're idiots. We don't know what we're talking about. Everything we're saying is opinion and protected by our
First Amendment?
freedom of speech amendment.
Yep.
Which one is that?
first.
We're so dumb we don't know which
That's
one.
the
first one.
first
No,
one.
the main one.
I
You
can
should know,
confirm
Joey.
it's the
We
first
can't be
one.
friends
Thanks.
anymore.
Okay, I don't know.
Ruby is a Mormon, actually.
Second Amendment's the
She
fun
is.
one, though, isn't it?
Ruby
The
the
second one's the
Mormon
best one.
podcast
Okay.
dog.
Ruby the podcast dog. She can't get sued for saying something stupid.
No, it's nice to be a dog.
Yeah.
Ruby the Mormon podcast dog.
Identify as a dog. How about that? Boom.
Boom. You're
Case
protected.
Yeah,
closed.
take that.
Take
Take
that,
that.
Mormons, with all your millions of dollars that you've embezzled.
More than that. Mhm.
More than millions,
More than millions.
billions.
Oh wow! I mean, have you seen some of these temples that they've built?
They're, even the offshoot cult ones, they've
Yeah.
got some cash.
Yeah, they're
They know how to
raking
handle.
it in.
They know how to handle their money.
That 10% tithing is
We can get into that.
might be a little
Yeah.
We can get into that.
yeah, we're going to. We're
Mhm.
going to.
But let's just jump it off. What the crap is a Mormon?
All right. Well, let's do the elevator Mormon pitch.
Okay.
Like what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph Smith, old treasure hunter back in the 1800s. You remember the year?
I don't.
Yeah, 18.
Early 1800s.
Early 1800s. He's a
Mhm.
treasure hunter, notorious liar, which
Yeah.
is weird.
He was
start
a
out a prophet.
storyteller, as they say.
Storyteller.
Yeah, he was a little treasure hunter, young kid trying to find his way in religion.
Mhm.
Says he goes to the woods to pray where he needs to go to church, and
And this is during an interesting time in American history of religion.
yep, there was
There were a lot of different groups,
Yep.
Mixing around.
Seventh Day Adventist was kicking off at that point.
the
You had,
Quakers,
the Quakers,
some other odd groups that we could go do another podcast on. But
yeah,
it was
there
like it was a mix of a bunch
a
of
lot
things.
of offshoots of Christianity was happening at this time frame.
And from what I heard-
which is pretty weird.
from what I heard too, it was there was like a revival period, like pretty
Yeah.
much like everybody was turning to looking for some kind of religion.
yeah.
That's right.
But so he's trying to find his way as a young man. Goes in the woods, prays to God. Hey, where do I need to go? And God don't just answer his prayers. He comes and visits
In his physical form,
with Jesus
with Jesus in his physical form,
and says, "Guess what?"
according to him.
Says, "Guess what? I know you're praying to find one, but they're all wrong. Everybody is
Every
wrong.
one of them.
So you got to do your own thing." He says.
Yep.
We're paraphrasing, of course. But so he tells him that someday there's going to be, we're going to give you some revelation. There's going to be some materials released to you that you're going to spread the word of
right.
Mormonism. Where does that name come from, by the way? Mormon.
The Moroni,
Yeah.
the
I
angel.
guess.
Moroni.
That makes sense. I don't know that to be a
Yeah.
fact, but that makes sense.
So
Mhm.
Stephen says the angel Moroni, which
Yeah.
is funny.
'Cause
They say Moroni, but I like
Yeah.
Moroni.
Moroni.
It's because they had to have covered that up. They said, no, it can't be Moroni. That sounds like baloney. We're not doing that.
Too easy.
Too easy.
Too easy.
Yeah.
Seventh-day
Moroni.
Adventists come
It sounds
in.
like
Change
you
the
need to have
vowel.
your-
It just changed the vowel. That's all
Yeah.
you're doing.
Yeah. All right. So Moroni comes to him later in life. He goes for a few years. So, well, back up a little bit. He does go back and say God and Jesus talked to him. His
Mhm.
family believes him.
But it was a few years later that he said it. He wasn't like
Statute
Yeah,
limitations.
he's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it was
That's
a few
right.
years later. He held on to that of Jesus and God coming down
Would
in
you-
physical bodies, and he just held on to it.
And
For
then
You go
Right.
home and just like take a nap. You're like, that just happened.
Yeah.
Wow, what a
Walk
big,
in the door and your mom's like, "What did you just say? Nothing. I'm
Don't
going to my
worry
room.
about
Don't ask me.
Don't
about
worry about it, Mom.
It. Yeah. And then he gets some nerve up and tells mom and dad, and they believe him. And apparently, maybe they didn't. I don't
So-
know. If my kid come to me and said,
So
some ass
they,
like
his
that,
parents
I'd be like,
did.
Like, you're
I did
going to
get a
the-
little.
Yeah.
I got a little background on his parents. So
Okay.
his mother, they went to church for a period of time, to a Christian believing church,
Mhm.
but she also didn't believe when in his youth. She didn't believe that the churches of the time were the real church either.
Mhm.
Okay.
So she said that there would be a prophet that came up at some point that would bring in the one true church. Well, it just so happened to be,
Young Joseph
how
Smith.
crazy is it? It was their son.
Golly.
Well,
What
yeah,
is
it's
that?
insane.
My special boy.
My boy.
My special little boy is bringing in the one true church.
Yeah.
So she was in on the game a little bit from
Okay.
from what I've seen.
What were they teaching in the old church? Just King James?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at that point,
King
yeah.
James for sure.
Okay.
Because we got some commentary on
Because
that
it's mostly
too,
like
but-
Protestant, right? Up in that area, the Northeast.
Yeah, they were in New York.
According to Joseph Smith, that's what God still talks in, is old King James, which is pretty weird.
Yeah.
And oddly enough,
all of the every prophecy he had was in old King James,
Yeah.
which was pretty weird.
yeah, and one of the disbunking things that I've heard was even the metal plates that the Book of
Golden
Mormon, the golden
plates.
plates of the Book of Mormon were written in some kind of Egyptian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Egyptian hieroglyphics.
Yeah. And even that was written in King James.
Yeah,
English.
all of it was.
Yeah.
Which
He had to translate it, but
The
it was
Egyptian
it
hieroglyphics
translated
in
as King
King-
James
yeah.
English.
yeah, Egyptian hieroglyphics and King James were around about the same
Yeah,
time
yeah.
frame, so it works
Joseph
out.
Smith just like literally took a Bible, closed his eyes, and just flipped through and just threw his finger down. Was like, oh, put that one in there.
Yeah, he did. They said that. They
There's
said there was a lot of
some of
cut
that.
and paste,
There was a lot of that,
paste
yeah.
from the Bible into
Mhm.
his.
He
stuff.
just repackaged it. Was like
Yeah.
new
Yep.
program, y'all.
Well, supposedly, and we may get into this later, but they said when Jesus died on the cross, the 3 days that he was in the grave is
Mhm.
when he came to the Americas. Did y'all hear that?
I did hear he
Did
come to the
not.
Americas and lived with the Indians who
For
were
3 days, he
Yep.
lived with them, and he revealed himself to them in the Americas while he was in the grave.
and the Indians were Israel
They were Israelites.
Israelites that came from Israel
Earlier.
on a boat
Yes,
to the
which,
Americas.
which works out, except
Yeah.
we show no time. We show no water travel across the
There's
sea
no
at that
evidence.
point in
No,
history.
no. We're jumping. See, so this religion's so jacked up in my head that it bounces all over the place.
Yeah, it's crazy how.
Mhm.
So let's back up. So he's a kid,
Mm-hmm.
21. He was 20 something. He was early 20s
Well,
when he found
was
the plates.
yeah when he found the plates. Now his original. I want to say he was 14 with his original God and Jesus coming down.
Is that when he got the stone?
When he
Or-
okay, so I'm getting there. He,
Okay.
Moroni. I'm gonna say Moroni. 'cause it's
Yeah.
I like
funny.
it better.
So Moroni goes to him and says,
Hey, y'all.
Hey, follow me. I'm gonna take you to the plates, and
Mm-hmm.
they're buried in the woods in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so Moroni, when he was so backing up, he was supposedly a person on Earth at one time. So that's
Yeah,
how he buried
was.
the
He
plates.
was in the Nephites and the Lamanites.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
during,
right.
during that time frame.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he buries them, comes back as angel form, tells Mr. Young Smith, hey, let's go find the plates. They're in a box in the ground, in the woods. I'm going to show you where they're at.
So I have a question real quick.
Mm-hmm.
If Moroni was an angel,
Yep.
does that mean that he never achieved his God status?
You're jumping early. You're jumping way ahead.
But
Oh,
it's
we're just setting
it's
it
a
up.
thought. It's a thought that just happened.
Okay, so
Uh,
keep that in
real
mind.
Real time.
Keep that in
Is that
mind.
something that happened? Was he not a good enough Mormon that he achieved God status?
Yeah, because in their, it as part of their heaven,
There's like 3 sections.
there's three
Yeah,
three
there's-
sections of heaven, and then there's 3 levels of the highest heaven.
And everybody pretty much goes to heaven.
Yeah, even if you don't even
Yeah.
if you're not Mormon,
Well, you can get baptized after the fact when
which
you're
is
dead.
like most of what they do when they get to be a good Mormon is just
Yeah.
go to church and get baptized over and over again for
Yeah.
dead people,
It's crazy.
which is
They
cool.
don't
I
change
mean,
the water.
it's cool for me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Like,
don't
hey,
change the water. We're using the same water.
Yeah.
hey, gross. But it's cool for me as a non-Mormon. Like, hey,
Get
Mormons,
the
hook me
Mormon-
up. If you're a
Whoa.
Mormon, listen to this.
It's like-
Write my name down and hook me up.
It's like a
one day.
401k and not even put money in it.
Yeah,
You know?
That's
man.
right.
So too easy, but
Get in the Mormon bathwater.
gross. So Maroney takes him to the box in the woods in New York, opens the box. There's I don't know how, that's another thing. How do you get a whole Bible's worth of material printed on plates of gold?
Dude, just
That'd be a
Well, the
lot
Book
of
of Mormon's
gold.
what, like 5 books or 5?
I can't tell you
It's not a big
specifically.
book, I don't
it's
think.
not. I thought
It's
it
not
was
huge,
3.
but it's big
I was
enough.
thinking it was 3.
That's what she said.
But it's big enough that you're not going to fit all that stamping out
Mhm.
words on a golden plate.
with a chisel and a rock.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not.
Mhm.
Like how many, like how thin is the paper, the metal, or how,
Right.
you know what I mean?
How
Like,
small
I
is the
want to
letters?
say that there were actual dimensions that some of the apologists have now.
Okay,
The Mormon apologists, they come out and
they justify that
they
question.
justify that question because there's a time when supposedly he's running with these for miles. And let's talk about how heavy
Gold is.
gold is for a minute. So this guy's running for miles
Bro, he was
with
the
hundreds of pounds of golden
He's the
tablets.
original David Goggins. Who's going to carry these tablets?
I was picturing Charlie in the chocolate factory after he finds the golden ticket.
Go outside with 2
He's got the
20-pound
golden
dumbbells
ticket.
and run.
Yeah, and they probably,
Run a
and
couple
I
of
guarantee
miles.
they weighed more than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So he takes them back. They're all in some weird Egyptian hieroglyph that nobody understands, but Moroni hooks him up with some seer stones and magic
No.
goggles.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He
Yep.
got the seer stones from a witch during his
Treasure hunting days.
days.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
so
he
that's
used
how
those
he
in the
would
hat.
see. That's how he would see into the ground and see the treasure
Uh-huh.
in quotations for
Yep.
everyone.
Yep.
The treasure in the earth when he was taking money from farmers. so
So farmers would pay him to go find
yeah,
treasure
to go find
with
treasure
his
on
magic
their land.
rock.
Yeah.
Weird. Anyway, so this is this is
How did these people live so
this
long?
is the
These are
guy
some
that-
dumb
yeah.
people.
this is the
Hey,
guy
bro,
that
there's a young boy on a rock. He can see in the dirt. Give me some money.
it's so funny.
We're gonna give you. We're gonna be rich.
We're gonna be rich.
These are the people falling for the Nigerian prince. things
Yep,
on
this is the
internet.
original.
Yeah.
This is the original Nigerian
This
prince
is the
in your
ori-
email.
Joseph Smith is the original Nigerian
Joseph Smith
prince.
is that Nigerian confirmed.
Anyway, so he takes his golden plates. He takes them home. He says nobody can look at them.
Yep.
Nobody can, even his wife. Nobody can look at them.
Mm-mm.
Which is
Because Moroni
Yep.
told me. He told
him
me
not
no.
to. So he, the way he has to read them is look through the glasses, and he can read them.
Mhm.
Or he could put the seer stone. I'm not making this stuff up, y'all. He puts a seer stone in a hat while the plates are in the room, and then the words was projected onto the rock so that he can read it off.
Yep.
So he can't write and read at the same time, so he gets Buddy to come over. Says, stand behind this curtain so you can't see the plates, and I'm going to read this stuff to you, and this is the Book of Mormon. This is what's going into
This is the one real church right
This
here.
is the one real church.
Book of Moron?
So could you imagine though looking like your buddy? All right, so
You walk in. He's like,
yeah. Let's pretend I'm Joseph Smith.
okay,
You're my buddy.
All right.
Hey, bud, I'm gonna get you to write down this stuff. All right.
okay, cool.
Okay. I'm gonna read off this golden tablet. All right.
Gold.
Yeah. You can't see it though.
But
You can't
can
look.
where is this golden tablet?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
We could retire.
I just got it. It's under my bed.
Okay.
You can't look at it. All right. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna stick my head in this hat. All right. And I'm gonna read off this stuff, and I need you to write it down.
You got to write it down for me.
I can't even read. I can't write.
Good news for you, I can. All right. So I'm going to go stick my head in his hat. The Book of Mormon says he got this thing over here, and Jesus came back and he came to the idiots. You got that?
Jesus is an idiot.
Maybe.
Well, the first time it might have been. We're about to get to that.
Yeah, so, all right. So his buddy's writing this stuff down.
Mhm.
His wife seems the buddy, I can't remember his name. Do you remember his name?
I don't remember his name. No.
Anyway, he's one of the first original members of the church, but he takes the stuff home to his wife, and his wife's smelling the BS from a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
She says, if this is real, we're going to pretend you lost this stuff, and he's going to be able to redo it.
She definitely isn't blonde, that's for sure.
No, she's a
That's
smart
right.
lady. Smart lady. So he does. He goes back and says, Joseph, man, sorry. Lost the book. We're going to have to redo this.
I walked
Joseph's-
I went through the woods.
Joseph's mad too because he's like, you know what? I got to go back to God and tell him this.
Yep. So he does.
Uh-huh.
He apparently goes back to God, and God says, all right, I'm mad. So I'm going to do it again.
You're grounded from the tablets, and
But-
then the tablets disappeared.
They just
Yeah.
floated away.
But then, so how did the Book of Mormon get written if it got lost? The original one got lost.
He gave it back to him. He was just grounded from it.
But
Yeah.
guess what?
Yeah.
It's different this
It's
time.
different this time.
There were revisions.
There were revisions.
It went back up and they're like, nah.
Yeah.
This isn't gonna work out.
So anyway, so that's pretty much the basis of
Yeah.
Mormonism.
The
we're-
start.
That's the
Yeah.
start of it. All right. So now you get to nowadays, and
It's completely different, I
It's-
think.
yeah,
It is complete. Well, and like once a year, there was also different. God would come to him and give him different prophecies and things that would
Yeah.
change pretty
Mm,
often.
yeah.
There would be, oh well, you need to be having sex with a bunch of women, and that
Yeah.
would be one of.
that was a fun one.
That was
He goes to his wife and says, and this is real. Goes to his wife and says, I don't want to, but I got to marry this teenage girl.
yeah.
My
I
hands
don't
are tied.
wanna-
My hands are tied.
Hey, I mean, can you argue with the Lord?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
So apparently, I don't know. Do you think she did? You think she argued with him?
To be a fly on the wall in that situation would be crazy. just coming in with your head down, just like, babe, I'm sorry.
The Lord told me.
But the Lord told me that I need to have 30 women as wives.
Guess what? They're all young and
And
hot.
they're all going to be young.
I promise you, I am so sad for you right now. I am.
tell you,
my
I've
heart
never-
is broken.
I didn't really even want to come tell you, but I had to.
I like how we put a country accent on Joseph Smith.
I feel like he did. I feel like
had
he
to
had
have.
yeah.
Even though he's in New York,
He was
he
in
had
New
to have
York.
some accent.
Well, I mean, the Garden of Eden. Did y'all hear about that? The
Oh, yeah,
Garden
that
of
was in
Eden,
Arkansas.
It was Missouri.
Missouri.
Yeah, it was in Missouri. I don't know if anybody's ever been to Missouri, but man, that place is beautiful.
Did I hear about that tree? What that forbidden fruit in there?
That's right. So somehow in Mormon world,
Mhm.
we started in the Garden of Eden,
Yep.
went to Israel,
Yep.
and then came back to the Americas. Granted, historical evidence proves that 100% incorrect
Yeah.
because we were not traveling the seas
Mm-hmm.
in at the beginning of time.
What's the river that runs through Missouri? Ozark.
Ozark. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get on a boat. We're going to Israel.
Yeah, it's right next to the sea, so
Yeah.
it drops you off right in the sea
Yeah.
from it.
Jeez. We're just scratching the surface too.
Oh, yeah,
There's
we're
some-
just-
This
there's
is
some-
great.
There's some goofy stuff that goes on. So
There is. We're jumping a little bit.
we're
But-
jumping all over the place.
but
I
it's hard
apologize.
not to.
It's hard. Yeah.
It's so hard not to.
I've watched I've watched stuff that was pro Mormon. I've watched stuff that was neutral Mormon, and I've watched
Yeah.
stuff like from ex Mormons saying that
Yeah.
all this stuff is wild and
It's
crazy.
weird.
To be
Yeah.
fair, I've never met a Mormon, but I've heard they're nice.
Yeah,
they're good
super
people.
Nice. Yeah, there's parts of their religion I like because they're super nice.
Yeah.
There's,
I mean, they pull from the Bible,
they-
right?
ish.
I mean,
Sort
I
of.
feel like they worship a different Jesus.
I
Than
think
we
that
do.
they're.
ha-
I
yeah,
think
they-
they're.
yeah,
they're
yeah.
pretty King James for the most part,
mhm.
Yeah.
but they kind of pick and choose a lot of things.
Mhm. Like, I don't want to make it seem like we're demonizing these people.
No,
They're
not at all.
bad people.
No.
It's hard not to cut up and have fun
Yeah.
with it, but I think that they really are good people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They just have a pretty weird theology.
Yeah.
Yeah, beyond weird.
And they're
Yeah.
all kind of the most. So they're the fastest. You told me they're the fastest growing religion in the world right now. Like
Yeah.
one of them.
They
Gotta
said, I want to say it was in the next 100 years, there would be like 265 million Mormons worldwide.
Good night. So
That's
they
huge.
so they've got a. So I don't know how they're doing it, but they've got a message that people are projecting to. They
Well,
like
yeah.
it. I mean, they like it. The kids are
Which
growing up with it.
We can get into later about what that message is,
Yeah.
about the positives that
Yeah.
entail what what waits for them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. When you die. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
I'm kind of, to be honest with you, I want one to come to my door. Now.
Just to
I do
see.
too. Now that I've got a little more information
Yeah, because
about
I
it.
used to be
Yeah.
scared of, not really scared of them, but just like,
Like,
hey man, I know Jesus, you can keep moving.
Yeah, standoffish with it for sure.
But now that I know what I know, I would like for one to sit down with me for a while.
Yeah, I
Just to
would too.
pick his brain.
And just I would like to have a conversation with him of like, so tell me about this.
Mhm.
So a guy found some golden tablets
Yeah.
in the woods,
Yeah.
and now you've based your entire life off of it.
Have you ever read the Bible?
Yeah,
From what I understand too, is they don't study the Bible because they believe it's messed up.
yeah, it's full of.
But they only take Jesus out of the Bible, right? They use him as a
They use
figurehead.
Jesus, yep.
So it's like,
yeah, there's some.
okay.
They stole a bunch of things from the Bible, took a bunch of stuff from the Bible,
Mhm.
and just went and twisted it all around and
Yeah.
said, well, when he died on the cross, he actually come to the Americas for 3 days.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's a little vacation. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. Come to see.
A little staycation.
Come to see the Rocky Mountains.
Yep.
Yeah, coming to see the Rocky Mountains while he's there.
Yep.
So what? How did they feel about the dark-skinned Indians? And
They weren't a fan.
yeah.
They were not as pleasant as their white-skinned brethren.
Mm-hmm. And I heard today too, while listening to some podcasts, that part of their reward after they die is if you were born with dark skin. Please, this is not coming from me.
Right. Yeah. This is not our belief at all.
If you're born with dark skin, you get blessed with white skin and blonde hair after
Blessed
you die.
with it. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
like
a-
it's a
They use
gift.
The B word
It's a gift.
That's a rough way of putting that.
So pretty much saying your dark skin
is a flaw.
is not good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
bad character trait to
And
them.
you touched on it a minute ago about things changing in their theology.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of them. Was you used to not be able to make it into priesthood if you had dark skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Till
changed.
the 70s, right?
Yeah, about when
The civil rights.
civil rights started going on, they decided that
Like we need to be more popular. To do that, we need to change some things.
Well,
Yeah.
it seems to be a very popularist deal to begin with because there's a lot of changes like that as culture changes, they change.
Yeah.
One thing about God is if he said it, that's it.
Yeah.
He doesn't go back and change his
Yeah.
mind about it. So
Yeah. That's kind of for me one of the sniffs of BS. If the seer stones and golden plates and magic translator
And a guy
rocks
named
and
Moroni.
a guy named Moroni wasn't
Yeah.
enough, that they seem to change with the wind.
with the times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The most recent was LBGQ stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're like 2-3 years ago just started saying that was A-okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Need more members, baby.
yeah.
Bring in that money.
Get them numbers and that money. Tell us about the money, Connor.
Are we there? Are we ready for that yet?
Let's
I
do
think
it.
we're ready for money.
Okay. Well, who do you think has more money? Before I do this, we
We
need
don't
to
play a quiz
separate.
show?
We need to
Let's do a
separate
quiz.
LDS and the Mormon. We need to go ahead and make that distinction.
I think
Latter-day-
LDS Mormons are the same.
You're saying FLDS.
FLDS.
There it is.
Fundamental.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to dig into them in a minute too.
Because
Yeah.
we need to separate that before I get into this.
Okay.
I think because
But even they got some money.
yeah
Yeah.
But anyway, so we'll say LDS.
LDS because they're the more popular.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's-
LDF is the more mainstream Mormon.
yeah. Even that one has offshoots.
It does.
So-
Yeah.
Teach me something.
You've got this is the Catholic Church in Germany, not the Vatican, but the Catholic Church in Germany.
Okay.
Their worth is $265 billion,
Okay.
and that makes sense because the Catholic Church is huge.
Yeah. Been around for a long time.
Huge. Yeah. What do you think the Latter-day Saints worth is at?
Is this Latter-day Saints as a whole? As
LDS. Yes.
Yeah, all of
So
the
like the big
entire
ones?
world.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know.
I'm
No
gonna say,
idea.
I'm gonna give it a bill. One cool billion.
265 billion.
265.
265
billion.
Big time.
Yeah.
Almost as much as the state of California brings in state taxes.
That's their net worth.
That is their worth. So,
that
assets,
would be like
that's
buildings.
Yes.
They got some balling buildings, by
They
the way.
do. They go. They go
Beautiful.
I wonder
hard.
if that's part of their agenda
draw.
is just like make these really cool structures to bring people in.
Yeah.
Well,
what I mean?
they've got Moroni
Yeah.
up at the top of all of them too.
Yeah, he does not.
Yeah,
What's he
he's-
like doing a little pose or something?
Doing a little
Uh,
pose
actually,
with his
yeah.
trumpet.
Yeah,
And
it's a whole thing.
yeah, it kind of looks like a graven image to me.
Kind of seems like
But I digress.
But I digress.
seems like a little bit of idol worship, but whatever.
Shoot. So
265 billion.
265 billion.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
learned,
Billion.
I mean, I was like, man, how do they have so much money? You know,
Yeah.
but they're really good at like investments and like buying land, buying housing, getting into the market.
Mm-hmm.
They own 2% of Florida.
Yeah. 2% of Florida
2% of Florida, the state. 2%.
Wow.
of like land mass.
Land mass.
Good night.
Yeah.
It's more than Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And where was I going with this thought? The by 2080, they're going to build it would be more than a compound. It'd be like a safe place for their followers for 500,000. They're going to call it Zion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know from the Matrix.
Yeah.
Their safe place is called Zion too.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Interesting.
So it's all these different things playing into each other. It's so weird, and their plans it's like they're deeper into the market than we know.
Yeah.
And they're just getting bigger.
Are they doing that in Florida? Is that the plan, or is it? Because
they're going to do that. They're going to do that.
Utah
they're going to do that in Utah.
I was about to say they've already owned Utah.
I think they're doing this stuff in Florida because it's such a free state.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably not as much restriction on like owning stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Like corporation wise.
Taxes are lower there too. Income tax and all that's not a thing there. So
I think they're just bolstering, just getting as much assets as possible.
Yeah.
You know, to protect themselves. But the fact that this is such a huge organization and they're based off these weird stuff, and they're so huge.
Yeah.
It is mind blowing.
So they're big into genetics too. I don't know if y'all have seen that.
So keeping bloodlines pure?
No, genealogy, like going back and doing DNA ancestry stuff.
Yeah, they said they're solid on that game.
So why they are is because some of these people predated Mormonism at all, and they think that they have to then go clean those people that have died to get them into different levels of heaven.
Yeah.
So they go through and they try to dig through ancestries and DNA and genealogies
to be baptized in the name of great aunt Alpha.
Yeah, exactly. So could you imagine, like, I can do whatever I want on earth because I got some Mormon buddies that can baptize me later?
Right.
Like, that's...
where's the responsibility? So
I think that the responsibility in their mind is they want to get to the highest level of heaven.
Yeah.
So even the ones that they're baptizing, they just get to hang out in heaven, like on the outside. Like, I mean, maybe inside, but
still in a good part.
Still a good part, but just
not hell. Yeah.
And like I said,
is there hell?
Yeah, I don't think they do.
So I don't understand how there is a hell. Because I want to say I've heard that they have unforgivable sins, like murder would fall under unforgivable sin. But can that be cleansed? I don't know how that works. Can it be cleansed?
Well, I heard that Stephen Paddock, the guy who did the Las Vegas massacre, that he can't be baptized after the fact. And there was somebody else I heard, but he was one that they will.
Where does that come from? Who told them that was the case? It's like, this guy.
Because who's doing it? Is it the church or is it individuals doing that? You know what I mean? Could you, as an individual, could you do that for somebody?
So Jeffrey Dahmer's off limits?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, but like, who draws the line?
He looks like a Mormon, honestly.
That's a problem to me. Is who draws that line of like, nah, he was too bad. Yeah. You need to just be good enough that we can baptize you after the fact. Yeah. But
see, these are the questions why I hope they come knock on my door.
I do too.
Yeah,
dude, I'm inviting them in immediately.
It's like, are you playing God?
Yeah.
We can start getting into our little thing now.
So playing on that, that's part of their belief is the different levels of heaven. The highest one, you have to be there's a bunch of stipulations.
No alcohol.
One of them was being married in the church.
Yeah.
Like called it being sealed or something like that. Having a sealed family.
Mm-hmm.
But
this is the only men too, by the way, that can get to the.
No, girls can too.
Can they? Okay.
That's a recent revelation, I think.
Yeah. Just weird. But so they can get, their family can get into the highest level, but the highest level, they get their own universe.
Was it world or universe?
They become gods themselves of their own. I heard it described as an experiment. Say you go the highest one, you can go play your game of Sims and play with your own world as your own god.
But you've got to go. You've got to populate your own world with your own wives.
Your heavenly mother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
So you're just having endless fun up there with your wife, and she's just one after another.
Yeah.
She's just up there.
Babies.
Does that hurt for them? You think that hurts for them?
I don't know.
No, because you're God. You can just be like, nah, it's good.
Fine.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
This part, I was thinking about it. It sounds like something like a 12-year-old thinks about, like, guys, listen, good idea. What if we just have our own planets and we just have as much sex as we want? It'd be so cool.
I'm gonna be a god.
It's gonna be great.
I can have all the girls.
Everyone.
All of them.
Did y'all ever have that rug when y'all were a kid that had like the roads and stuff on
Yep.
it? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So just imagine a 12-year-old. He's got his army men over here and he's playing God. He's like,
Now you're gonna die.
no, guys, you see that hot girl over there? That's my wife.
And they can have all the wives.
They can have as many as they want
As many as they want.
in heaven, I
Yeah.
guess. Now
Chicks get a bad rap with
yeah,
Mormon.
they've got a bad time.
I don't understand why they're okay with this stuff. Like I said, they can't get to heaven. They have got their own thing,
Yeah.
but they're just like an afterthought.
I think they've got a misunderstanding of the submission verse.
Yeah.
Women submit to their husbands. They take that quite literally, I think, and
Yeah.
women are supposed to,
Yeah. So
Because they never like sit down, like put on a whiteboard, like pros and cons with her husband. Like, so you get a planet with wives.
all the wives.
You get to have endless fornication.
Endless coitus.
And here's me. I get nothing.
I get to pop out
I get
babies
to
for the
pop
rest of
babies out for
eternity.
eternity.
God.
Man.
So and that brings up another thing. The math doesn't work either.
Okay. Tell me about the math.
You got a world of half male, half female.
So
All the males get all the ladies. There's not enough ladies for all the dudes.
not all of them are going to get a planet because they did not
Get to reach
fulfill
the-
their purpose on Earth.
But all the girls don't go either.
Well,
So the math still ain't there.
Nah, most of I don't know. Math don't math.
Math
you're right.
ain't mathing.
But
That Mormon math.
that Mormon math is off. But they're good at other math, obviously. Because
Yeah, they're getting that money
They're
up.
buying the state of Florida at this
Yeah.
point. So
Can you imagine like being like an accountant for them, like handling billions of dollars and just being like, bro, so what are you gonna do with your planet? Bro, what are you gonna name it?
is that? I wonder if that is an actual conversation they have. Is like, guys, what are y'all going to do with y'all's
Yeah.
planet? When
Guys, I just sold this deal for $100 million. Hey, my name's gonna be like Equinox. Or I don't know why I chose that voice,
So
but
I-
it's so fitting, honestly.
So
It
I
does
really,
work.
I really don't think a single Mormon is continuing to listen to this show if they've
no,
gotten this
they
far
did
into
that.
it.
They,
But
they heard the
if you did, Mormons, if you did,
yes.
please reach us out.
We love you.
Reach out to. No. I want to hear from them.
I do
Reach
too.
out
And
to us
I
on
love 'em.
social media right now.
Yeah, please do.
Pick up your phone, hit Facebook, Shrouded Realities.
Mm-hmm.
You can hit us on our email if you want to be quiet about it.
Ex-Mormon,
Shrouded Reality
ex-Mormon as well. If
Yeah.
you're an ex-Mormon and you're listening to this, reach out to us. I'd like to.
Yeah.
You've been in that frame of mind. I'd like to hear from
We've
you.
got so many questions.
I'd
We've been
love to know.
studying
Yeah.
this for probably.
I want to know
a
what's
few
real
weeks
and what's
now.
not. It's all information out there. I don't know. I want to hear it straight from the source.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I want to know, is this stuff still prevalent today? I mean, this may be old information that we're getting at this point. I mean,
Because they change.
because they change week to week, it seems like. So I'd love to hear
Flip-flop.
from anybody and just get some solid information on
Yeah.
it.
Shroudedrealities@gmail.com is our email.
That's right.
But
Please
all the
don't send us like, hey, I'm going to blow up your studio.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
We're cool.
We're
Just send us bad vibes.
We're
Just do that.
Yeah.
just be like, hey,
Do
you
they do
guys are
vibes?
idiots.
I don't know.
I don't know. Our vibes wrong.
I don't know.
Just
It
tell
seems
us.
like they got good vibes though. They all are happy.
They're all pretty chill.
Yeah.
pretty chill
The
people.
thing is we're probably going to end up with like 8 million Mormons showing up at our doors and be like, hey, do you want to know about it? You want to know about You want to know about
I'd be
it?
like, yeah, let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Hey, here's our sting stone. Start throwing stones at us.
Hey, that'd be sweet.
That'd be cool. I'd catch it.
I'd test it. I'd be
Yeah.
like, it's bullcrap. All right, let's go.
Yeah, so the part of their money too is their tithing is
Yeah.
strict.
Yeah, they actually
Hard 10%.
It used to be just like 10% of your extra money. Now it's like 10% of all your money.
Yeah.
So like, even if you're struggling, like you have to
Yeah.
tithe.
And even like, and it's so that one of the ex-Mormon podcasts I listened to, he was a entrepreneur, so he made his own money. They were taking 10% of his gross, like before taxes, everything. They were just yanking it from
So
him.
is it it's of course a mandatory 10%, but if you give over that, is that a situation too?
I
Like,
don't know.
did they give over 10%? Does that make you a better Mormon?
I don't know. He did say that they did have auditors that made sure you like this. It's like for real. Like they're gonna dig into your stuff to make sure, you're legit.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a sticky situation. Like that was another thing too. They're big on accountability. They had I watched a show about the the missionaries that we're talking about, the young guys you see on the bicycles with the cool ties.
Right.
They've got to, they go through training, and while they're going through training, they've
Yeah.
got accountability guys watching them. And then even when they go on mission, they have to stay within eye and earshot of their partner. That's why we
right.
always see two on the road.
Mhm. That's yeah. Is that a mandatory thing for them to go to temple, or I think that's what I've heard is they have to go to temple before they're anointed to go on the mission field, and
that was part of their works to get into the highest levels of heaven.
Going to temple, from what I saw, is a big deal.
Yeah.
Like that's where you
like
get
you can't
into
even just go walking in.
No, like you have to, and that's really where the secretive stuff comes in. A lot of today's Mormon, I think, is in that temple, whatever they're doing in there.
Yeah.
I've seen a little bit of stuff about
it. That's the shrouded reality.
That's where it's really shrouded up.
Yeah, because
they don't want you to know what they're doing in there.
No, and we're in a time in space right now that the ex-Mormons have a platform.
Yeah,
there's stuff like this podcast that puts out stuff that they don't want people to know.
Well, there's been video. People have come out with videos inside of temple where they've got just hidden camera stuff. I don't know if y'all have seen any of that. Mm-hmm. They're doing some weird stuff. That's where the holy underwear comes from.
I was about to ask. Yeah. You want to tell them about what you got to have on under your clothes before you can go into temple?
Well, I heard it's all the time. Like you have to wear it.
Yeah, once they reach a certain level.
Once you reach a certain level, you're all the time wearing your holy underwear. But it's basically like a white T-shirt and white boxers that are sewn together.
Yeah, it looks super lame.
It kind of, it's really a weird, like, think of a white romper. That's what it looks like.
A romp him.
Yeah.
A big diaper.
And then in the temple, I've heard just from people that have been there and talked about it a little bit, they'll come through and they'll have oil on their finger and they'll anoint their forehead. Mm-hmm. They'll anoint both of their nipples.
Come on.
And then they'll touch them in their no square.
Come on.
Is
anoint
it
them.
Extra virgin olive oil? You know?
I don't know what extra virgin olive oil.
I get it, virgin.
I get it.
But ding.
Ding, ding.
So they'll that's part of it. There's a lot more to it. A lot of Freemason type stuff that's supposedly going on.
That like what's it called? Third degree or something like that.
Well,
so all kinds of
supposedly right after Joseph Smith was in the Freemasons at one point.
Yeah, that's where
that's where the temple,
a lot of people were.
Temple stuff popped up during that time. And they've got secret handshakes to get into heaven. There's all kinds of stuff.
There's like, get to heaven, they're like, nope, get out.
Yeah, you didn't do that right.
Yep.
Yeah, I did learn one of the secret handshakes.
I did too.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Just in
case. I'm going to sneak in.
God is going to destroy you.
That's right. Go up to the pearly gates and you go give somebody a handshake.
Dab them up.
You're just going to make sure you touch. You're going to make sure your thumb is touching the knuckle of their thumb, just so. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
So what happens if you don't have hands and you go to heaven?
Come on.
Maybe they've got a double secret handshake that they do with no hands. It's like an elbow bump.
Yeah.
Wink, wink. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they just get a free pass.
So from what I understood, the Mason situation is what got Joseph Smith killed.
It didn't help him.
It didn't help. He got run out of town all across the United States when he was
They were trying to get to Missouri.
He was running for president.
Yeah, he ran for president, and
everybody was like, "Whoa,
yeah, you got too much power, bro."
Yeah,
and they started checking him, and then they started running him out of every town he was in. Like every place he was like the next place that God wanted him to be.
There was some Mormon wars going on too.
Yeah, they had militias and fights.
Yeah, there was wars going on. I want to say some of that was during Brigham Young, and that's when Brigham Young came in. I think
he
was
after
2 years.
Died.
It was 2 years after Joseph Smith had died, maybe.
Yeah. Here's another weird thing. So he was the prophet, the next big prophet, main prophet after Joseph Smith died.
Right.
But he was voted in.
Yeah.
Since when are prophets chosen democratically?
That's how that works. I think this guy's got the most prophet juice over here. Let's give it to him.
Juice. Use that word carefully.
Gross.
I think the context works.
So Brigham Young was the one that got him into Salt Lake City.
Yeah,
exactly. I kind of feel bad for more. I feel like they get stuck in like the worst spots.
Well, it's because
I don't know. Salt Lake City's
they
actually
turned it into balling place.
It's a pretty sweet place to be.
I think I heard it's because of their water thing. Like they think water's evil, so they moved far away from water as possible.
So Las Vegas originally, that's where it was founded, was from Mormons.
Really?
Yeah. Was in Las Vegas.
Well, that took a twist, didn't it?
So when casinos and stuff were coming into that area, they actually opened a bank. One of the guys that was there opened a bank up, and that's where a lot of this money originated. Because this guy was a banker for these casinos, and he was just rolling in dough.
Yeah.
So, and then that eventually turned into Las Vegas.
Golly.
Yeah. So, I mean, they've got a weird history in our country just as a whole.
Yeah, I do like their history. It's a fun story.
It's interesting. It seems like a bunch of bullcrap, but I mean, yeah, it's
well, interesting enough. There's a lot of sci-fi writers come from Mormonism because that's kind of how they're.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, that's kind of how their headspace is.
I think that's kind of how they're wired.
Yeah.
They wrongly crossed.
So I heard some of the prophecies that Joseph Smith had made, and I'm just going to give you one of them, or I'll give you two.
Okay.
One of them was he predicted the Civil War, and it actually, he said, within the next 30 years, the North will go against the South. It's going to destroy our nation, all this kind of stuff. And come to find out, that actually happened. I mean, that was something.
Well, was the writing on the wall already, though?
I mean, I'm not sure, but
was that
it was 30 years, though. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a pretty good timeline.
Yeah.
But if you're just making a guess that in 30 years that's going to happen, and it was pretty close, I think, to the timeline of when it happened.
Yeah.
So that was one that a lot of people were like, see, he's right.
Yeah.
He talked about this, and here it is. He also said, and this is one that I can't confirm, but he said that there are little men on the moon that are all 6'5", and they dress like Quakers. So I can't. I don't know if that's real or not. I've not been to the moon. Could be. But could you imagine landing on the moon? And there's 6'5"
with his butt buckles on his hat.
You got the Quaker Oats guy. You got the Quaker Oats guy up there just hanging out.
A bowl of oatmeal.
Just giving you a bowl of oats.
Yeah.
So that was another one of his prophecies that I can't confirm or deny if that's real.
He's like on one end, it's like, oh, okay, he predicted the Civil War, and the other end is like, this guy's crazy.
This dude's talking about Quakers on the moon. So,
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
Yeah, their history. I kind of wonder if this guy had moments of clarity. Joseph Smith, he had moments of like, all right, we gotta throw some things in here that seem a bit legit. And then the next moment, he's just in Quakers on the moon, man.
Quakers on the moon. They're quaking.
And people eat it up.
Yeah,
It's almost like he was testing how
far
wacky he could get.
Yeah.
Like
He went home and was like, I have nothing left.
it's like his own personal game of being like, all right.
Yeah.
So they bought this thing about the hat and the stones and the goggles.
Yeah.
They're
I was like,
in.
Let's see if we can
next?
throw some moon men at him.
Yeah.
Some moon men.
The Quaker moon.
And then they bought it. And he goes back to his wife.
And then as soon as he mentions like multiple wives, everyone was like, you're done.
You're done.
Well, that was a big thing, and I think that's what got him killed in the end. Was he was fooling around with his buddy's wife,
Yeah.
and a whole bunch of dudes were running after him, and somehow he suicided himself,
Well, he was,
jumping
like,
out of a window or
shot,
something.
He ended up in jail.
Yeah.
Okay.
And possibly the Masons, they said that was kind of one of the mysterious parts. Even now, they don't know who went after him, what group went after him.
Yeah, it was
Possibly-
a group, though, I'm pretty sure.
Possibly the
Yeah.
Masons went after him, but they went after him, cornered him in the corner of the jail, and he Boeinged himself out the window. Yeah,
Boinged.
out of the window. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that he was shot, but then also fell out. I don't know. And the reports are iffy.
It's a pretty it's a rough way to go as a prophet. I mean, you jump out a window and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that would suck.
Yeah.
Not even like a brave martyr. Like
No, it's like
Like
he's running away from other people.
Like,
He's not even
He's like
standing
going
his
into battle.
ground.
yeah,
You know?
you got martyrs.
He's like, crap.
yeah, you got good martyrs that just like they defiantly
I'm
stand up to
standing for
everything.
what I believe.
Even if it doesn't, like, you know you're not going to win, at least just take it. Instead of just like,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to get out of here.
You think he was screaming, "Sorry, I tried to take your wife."
Still hit it though.
Let's get into some crazy offshoots. If that's not crazy enough,
Yeah.
Let's get into
this
some.
has all been normal stuff so far. Let's get into something
This
weird.
is not even shrouded reality. This is reality.
This part's reality. Yeah, Warren Jeffs. What do you know about Warren Jeffs?
Was that the guy with the multiple young wives?
Yeah,
Yep.
lots of young.
He's
young
in.
wives.
He was in like the.
He was like the most recent he started the FLDS, right?
Yeah,
he didn't start it, but
Okay.
he was the main guy of the FLDS,
So his father,
which is the fundamentalist
Latter-day Saints.
Church of Latter-day Saints.
Gotcha.
Yeah, his father ran it prior to him. He kind of took the reins afterwards. I think he had like 100 brothers or something. I mean, I don't know.
So their claim to fame is back early days, Brigham Young. We talked about the multiple wives and all that. That was kind of their thing, that polygamy was a thing.
Yeah, and
FLDS stuck to that.
And to take it back to when that revival was happening, the multiple wives things was also like kind of floating with those other religions that were coming up, and they kind of meshed into that too.
Yeah. So FLDS, when the regular church said, "All right, we can't be humping each other's wives, we got to stop," and said that was bad. All of a sudden,
I don't know why that hit me a little late, but it did.
But yeah, so FLDS said, "Nah, I like having."
No, we're not Bible thumping, we're Bible humping. That's what they're doing.
Where's the beat button for this kid? Anyway,
that's great.
Yeah, so Warren Jeffs took over the church, the FLDS, and they're like a tiny offset, but they've even got tons of money. Like they're more cult-like, I guess you can say. It's like
they got compounds. And
stuff.
Like
they stay to themselves. They don't go out proselytizing and preaching to people. They just stay to themselves because they're into some dirty deeds.
Yeah, they're doing stuff they ought not be.
Done dirt cheap. But he ended up on America's Most Wanted list with Osama bin Laden.
Yeah. This was in I guess Osama bin Laden was after 2001, obviously.
No.
I want to say this was in wasn't this 2010s? This guy ended up on the he was in the 2010s somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah. But he's still alive, and he's still running the church from jail.
What?
Yeah. So even after it came out that he was super dirty, doing gross stuff with very young girls, having babies with very young girls.
Where's the father of these children?
That was the thing. So he would tell them that God told him to take these dudes' babies.
And they're like, I can't argue with that.
And they would go with it. Like they would just turn him over. He's got them brainwashed.
Like, see, the thing is,
was there money involved?
He would take one of their kids, 12-year-old or whatever it was, but he would give them another wife too, and tell them that they were making God happy basically by doing what they're doing. So they were brainwashed into this whole deal.
That was a Mormon Epstein. That's what this guy.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. So he had a dirty system of promise. Yeah, and that was the thing. That's how he got his power. Is he would promise? He was the one that would control who people could marry.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So if old boy said, "No, you ain't taking my daughter," well, you get the ugly girl, I guess, or you just don't get nobody. And so you wanted him to be in favor with him, so he would.
Yeah, because he's powerful. He's got money.
Yeah, he's got all the
contacts.
Money. He's got all the contacts. He tells you who you can.
I bet it was mostly he pulled the green out, and the guys were like,
"Yeah,
I guess we're gonna do this."
There was definitely some money and some. I think that it was kind of a dictatorship a little bit. And, you do what he says.
Because like if everybody I know,
you're all right.
Everybody I know, it's like if somebody came to you was like, "I want your daughter for marriage," it's like most people are like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, get back. And some people did. Like some of the people that excommunicated from the church was like that. I've seen a couple interviews where dudes were like, "Nah, man, this."
I think it was one of
my 14-year-old's off limits. And
wasn't it one of his wives that ended up and left because he was trying to pawn off some of his daughters to some of the. And she was like, "No, we're not doing that." Yeah. So she left, and there's some great interviews and stuff like that with her.
Yeah, there was a good documentary on Netflix I just watched. It's called "Keep Sweet and Obey." I think
Keep Sweet, Pray, Obey.
That's it. Yeah. And it breaks down his whole story front to back, and it's a gross story. 2006 was when he was on the FBI.
Gotcha. Okay. And that what was that for exactly? Do you know? Was it for the sex stuff, or was it for like evading taxes?
No, they actually didn't know how dirty it was until they got into it. They knew something was going on. So the only thing they could get him on was an accomplice to rape, and he did get convicted for it, but he only got like 10 years maximum. Like it wasn't a long sentence. But
once they got the other stuff,
once they got into that,
I want to say there was videos and there was things like that too.
Well, that's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
Once they started digging in and figuring out that there was more to the story than just underage brides that he was involved in, they was finally able to get a warrant for their main compound temple, and they got into it, and they spoiler alert if you want to go watch that documentary, but this is the end of it. But they get into his temple. They find a gross bedroom. Yeah, it was anyway. But they found a safe, a big safe, hardcore safe. It said it took them a long time to get into it, and that's where this moron had everything documented.
Like video,
sound, not video, but sound recording, and like paper documents of him
doing what he did,
promising girls to dudes, and like they had it all. So once that come out, they threw the book at him, and he's in jail forever.
I wonder if there was any connection. Go ahead.
He is actually eligible for parole, I want to say, in 30-something years. So
he'll probably be dead by then, I think.
He's not that old. I mean, he's
68 right now.
Okay. Well, he probably ain't gonna make it.
If he gets out, I mean, he's
He was a frail looking dude anyway.
So he was born as a premature. He was born like preemie 2 months or something. So it's
probably the meat between his ears that got him where he is.
Yeah.
He was able to just lie real good.
Yeah, he was.
He grew up. His father was the prophet, so he grew up as that kind of being his life.
That mindset
and that mindset. So he knew how to manipulate and to use people.
I wonder if there was any legitimate connection between him and Epstein, because this is like that timeline lines up to when.
I don't think so, because I think it's just you got two dirty dudes doing dirty things, because they were so internal in that. I don't know that they would necessarily
if their paths
be connected.
ever crossed.
Yeah, one did it with money and one did it with religion.
Yeah, it was just that cult. Cults always go there. It seems like it always ends up with
children,
sex.
Yeah,
just sex.
Because I mean,
it just all ends up in sex for some reason.
Because like once you get the money, it's like what's after the money? Pleasure.
Yeah, exactly. If I've got all the power, well, I would like to enjoy my power. So then they're going to go and do gross things with people they shouldn't be doing it with. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that personally, I think that that's where Mormon technically started, was in cult status to me. I mean, cult status was Mormonism to me.
Yeah.
And eventually LDS has kind of transitioned to being more religion-like, I would say.
I think that's how they're pulling their numbers.
That's how they're pulling where they're at today.
Being
but
more
as
attractive
far as
in that way.
Yeah. They're not doing they believe kooky things, but they're not doing kooky stuff.
I mean, like just in the 70s, they were doing not blood rituals, but like blood atonements.
Blood atonement, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, we got to stop that. That's kind of weird. People are getting freaked out.
Well, I mean, in the temple, they were we referenced the
doing, the oil.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Square.
But to go into the temple, you had to do a lot of Masonic gestures, like slitting your throat, disemboweling yourself. You had to do all these gestures to even get in and do anything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these guys are doing some weird stuff.
Going in there and like you do it and you just bust out laughing.
It would be hard not to.
Weird. Like
probably not, because you've been brainwashed this entire time to think that this is a holy ritual that you're doing.
Yeah. From what I understand, they were crazy excited to have that opportunity.
That was a big deal. It's a big deal to be able to go into temple at all.
And they just do a funny hand movement.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it works for.
But then that means that they could go on their mission. That means that they could eventually get to that next level of heaven. I mean, the whole thing. Yeah.
So I wonder how many of the Mormon followers like believe that side of the planets and stuff, or is it just like
all of them
a community thing?
No,
that's the big deal of it.
Yeah, that's part of it.
That's still the thing.
Yeah.
But a lot of cults, that's the whole, I mean, what is it, Heaven's Gate? They thought that they were going to be taken up by aliens and they were going to run their own planet, and they were the only ones that were going to be going up because nobody else joined them.
They're the ones that chopped off their dinglings, isn't it?
Yeah, we need to, hey,
we're going to do a show.
Go ahead and write it down. If y'all hadn't talked about Heaven's Gate, thought about Heaven's Gate, we got to get into that.
You know that meme where it's from Toy Story, where from the first Toy Story, where he doesn't play with Woody anymore.
Yeah.
It's basically Joseph Smith, like the Bible. He's like, I don't want to play with you anymore. Because they're just like, it's like, was that too boring for you? Like, was that not enough? You want?
Well, he had God and Jesus in their physical forms come down and show him that they were wrong.
And like, would you not get bored with that? You know what I mean?
With what?
Like the endless space fornication.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, at a certain point.
Can I go watch a movie or something? Like, can we stop?
Well, I guess that's where the Sims, I could play some Sims, the video game. Like, I'd probably enjoy it.
I mean, I'm not gonna have a bad time, but at some point, you gotta just replenish your electrolytes. You know,
You
get you some Gatorade.
You gotta go, honey. We've been at this for 400,000 years. Can we?
She's probably screaming the same thing.
Yeah, she's like,
start having babies.
I've pooped 7 billion kids out. We've got to stop.
Okay, I'll just go with my next wife.
All right,
And then the cycle starts.
that's right.
Jeez, good night. So what do you know about Lori Vallow?
Is that the actor?
No,
Don't know who that is.
Lori Vallow. She's there was another cult offshoot of Mormonism.
Oh wait. Oh. Yep.
They had like people
the doomsday thing.
Yeah, doomsday.
Yep.
She was a doomsday killer. She killed her own child because she
Children,
thought
plural.
that's right. She killed 2 of them. She thought they were zombies.
Yeah,
like dark spirits.
What?
And this was an offshoot of Mormonism.
Yeah, I watched a documentary on that, and the way they were basically executed.
Yeah.
So
execution style.
Was this just a crazy lady, or
I think
was she?
Yeah, she had joined and then found somebody.
Yeah.
Who was on the cuckoo side.
Yeah.
She believed it, killed her kids, ran away, and
Yeah, it was like a little super mini offshoot. Like it wasn't its own church, but they started out in LDS,
Mm-hmm.
and then like they got to talking
They
about
manipulated it further.
way further. Yeah. And this guy, what was his name? Chad Daybell started getting visions too. You know, visions. Right. Everybody buys the vision thing, but anyway, so he started to me, and this one, I don't know. You know the story, Connor?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, so did you watch the documentary?
It's been a while.
I know
Everything seems to go back to trying to bang girls.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So this guy Chad Dable,
Everybody's trying to do it.
This guy Chad Dable's like a definite Toby.
Yeah.
Like just 100%.
Old stump man
Stumpy.
Tobes.
Yeah,
Old stump Tobes.
not pulling the ladies in his younger
Bottom
days
tier.
at all. Yeah, and Lori, she's not a bad looking chick, but she buys his goofiness.
And he's like, I did it.
He's like, I did it. So he just buys all in and
Yeah.
talks her into killing her kids.
She's like-
so they can go hook up in Hawaii. I think
Yeah.
it was. So
It's like, why? Like,
Just get a babysitter, brother.
you gotta cap your kids. Like, chill.
There's other options. Like,
yeah, but yeah.
dadgum.
So it kind of feels like that.
Yeah.
The Mormonism lifestyle just kind of opens you up to believe just about anything. If you can buy all that we've talked about today,
Then you're loose enough to like do it, take anything.
you're just gonna like, sure, we're into it.
I wonder,
take
like for me personally, it's like when I die, I don't think I'm gonna care about sex like they do.
No.
I feel like I'm gonna be like, I'm done with that. That's like a
Yeah.
different, like the pleasure of going to heaven is gonna be more than that pleasure
Yeah.
on earth. You know,
Yeah.
It's like-
It's no,
You're-
it's fun, but it's a burden. Like,
yeah. When you're done, you're like, honestly, I could have done that tomorrow.
Yeah. I think we're gonna wrap this up quick.
I don't
before we get
know.
in trouble
I'm
with our
kind of
wives.
liking this rabbit hole we're going down. This,
Yeah,
I love my wife.
Yeah, we're gonna get us in trouble for
Sorry,
sure.
that's your fault. You brought it up.
Not Mormons brought it up. I didn't
Yeah,
bring
they
it up.
did.
That's
We're
right.
just talking
Blame
about
it.
We're
it.
just talking
Yeah.
about
This
it.
is our reality.
blame the Mormons, Joey. I see how it is. You don't think they've had enough?
Yeah.
They still want more, obviously.
Yeah.
That's right.
So maybe that's one of the questions you ask the missionary when he comes check you out.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, dude, you think you're gonna get sick of it?
It's like one. It's like you've probably never done it.
No, they haven't. Apparently they
Hey,
haven't.
but that's the time when you think you need it the most.
Yeah.
Because when you've never done it, that's
Like,
that's the time.
You never do it. You're like, I want it forever.
That's true.
You do it that first time, you're like, everything's going to be like this forever.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Just give it
These
give it a
kids
few
get-
months, man.
Yeah.
These kids got to have some sick self control.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
It would be, yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm not.
They're not eating meat
So I
over
don't-
there.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's not.
But they're
Dog,
making
let's
it
not
their
completely.
own.
That's a
dog
good
them.
thing. That's a great
Yeah.
thing that they are able to, well, maybe not to brainwash them to this point, but
Yeah.
to at least instill that into these guys
Yeah.
of like, hey, we need to be waiting until we're married.
Yeah.
There's,
But then
and
they
there's
make it
reasons
like
for that.
their entire like
Yeah, I was
mindset.
about to say though, but making it like your eternity is going to be, you're just going to be swimming in it. That's a little
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Go from nothing
Yeah, nothing to all of
Yeah.
it.
Bro.
Let's.
0 to 60 in 2 seconds.
That's
Their
right.
dreams are probably wild.
Yeah.
I get it. 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh man.
Y'all want to wrap it up?
yeah, we probably need to get
Think
out of
that's
here.
it
This is a
before we get
little
in too much
much.
trouble.
Yeah.
Mormons, hit us up on all the.
I'm sorry if I offended you guys, but
Yeah.
I had to.
I like their lifestyle. I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah.
You know, like if you take out the cookie stuff, I
I could be friends with a Mormon.
Yeah. I'd be
Oh,
in on it.
absolutely. I could be friends with them. I think that they're, like I said, they're good people. They just need to be turned into some maybe not crazy thoughts.
They need to hear about real Jesus.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Not Moroni.
Yeah, not Moroni and his boys, but
Moroni and the boys.
Let's wrap it up. Let's do it next week, fellas.
All right.
That's the end. Hit us up on all the social media. Check out our new website. It's probably garbage right now because it's the first one I've ever done, but check it out anyway.
Right, man.
And we'll see you next week.
Y'all want a bologna sandwich?
Ruby does.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you.
Bye.